Maybe our audio quality was good this time.
Hopefully.
Last time it wasn't. It's really disappointing. It's a great camera, but it's a shitty fucking,
I mean, my mic's not much better.
No, like, it doesn't even make noise. It's just like, yeah, so. Hopefully it's better this time. I did some tests and it sounded better. But that just might be the computer audio again. But at least it's recording this time.
Yeah.
Ready? Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to the Triple Threat Show on WXJM, excuse me, 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. My name is Jeremy Lapidus, host of this Triple Threat Show, joined today by my friend and co-host,
Hayden Raymer.
Hayden Raymer is back from his long hiatus. It's been a while. It's been like a year.
It's been a year? I think it's been closer to like 6 months.
It's been a long time.
It's been a while.
It's been a while. But he's back. It's very exciting. As we mentioned in previous episodes, we are having rotating hosts. Peter is not with us today. He is doing something. I don't know what he's doing. I think he's watching the JMU football game.
Ooh.
Yeah. Which just started. We'll talk a little bit about them. Obviously, they have a huge game this week, taking on UVA. First time since 1983 that they've taken them on. 2-1 in their history against, or 1-2, excuse me, against UVA in their history.
Mm-hmm.
This should be a game. This is a game that the Dukes can win.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely.
I think they're the odds favorites.
They were the favorite. This was they opened going into like lines and stuff. They opened as like a 6.5 point favorite.
Mm.
That's like the first time a Power 5's team hasn't been favored in opening in a very long time against a not Power 5 team. So this is good news. Now, the big story with JMU obviously is the quarterback situation.
Yeah.
And Hayden, I'm not sure how much you paid attention to that first game.
I followed along. I wasn't watching.
But there was, I guess, some people were calling it quarterback controversy. What did you think of the quarterback play out there?
Now I don't have the stats right in front of me. I mean, I think from what I remember, that game was pretty much in that first half was just all running.
Mm-hmm.
There was very little passing going on, which, will work sometimes, but it's probably not the best way to get sustained success nowadays in modern football. And so, kind of having someone who can, throw the ball, hit their targets is important. And, just didn't do that out there.
No, they didn't.
No.
Alonzo Barnett, this was his first start. He had 15 total yards.
Mm-hmm.
He was like 2 for 15, 2 for like 10 or something like that.
Oh yeah, I thought it was like 1 for 15. I think was the one I saw. I don't know.
And he had 15 yards passing. All of those yards came on a bubble screen. So he had one pass completed for 0 yards and one pass completed in the backfield for 15 yards. So not his greatest showing. But, I mean, it wasn't all negative. Obviously, Jordan McLeod came in and the Dukes started moving, right? So he's the starter today. And it seemed pretty obvious, but I don't want to just throw Barnett out like that.
No.
Because it's his first ever start in a college game, and his second throw was intercepted. And he had some good throws too. They were just a little bit overthrown. Like, he had a couple balls that were very well placed, just past the fingertips of his receivers, right? And I chalk a lot of that up to nervousness. You got to go step out there in front of I think there was 20,000 people in attendance there.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's his first time he's ever done something like that. And that's not an easy environment to just step into, you know? So I don't want to say, oh, he's a bum, because he isn't. You know, he won that starting job for a reason. You know? And I think, I'm not saying Jordan McLeod shouldn't start, because the way that the offense moved with him under center was just straight up better. You know? But I've seen a lot of people just move on like that. You know?
Yeah.
He's going to be on the team for a while. He's really young.
Yeah, no, he's a redshirt freshman?
Or sophomore. I think he might be a redshirt sophomore.
Okay. But yeah, no, I pulled up the stats here. He was 3-11 for 15 yards, like you said. Meanwhile, you know, Jordan McLeod was 7 for 11 with 144 yards on that passing game, where that's a pretty significant difference. Like you said, chalk up the nerves. I think Barnett probably gets at least one more chance to start this year. I don't know how you feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, McLeod's the guy right now, you know, and I don't want to throw it off.
Yeah.
Because offense is working when it's working, and we want the offense to work. But no, I think he definitely deserves a chance. If not this season, definitely next season. Keep it a quarterback competition. Keep it open. Now, Kurt Signetti kept it nice and short when asked about the quarterback controversy. He said it was pretty obvious, wasn't it? And, you know, it was a little bit. So, it seems like he's lost the starting job this season. Outside of unforeseen incidents or stuff happening, you know? So, no, but he deserves another shot. It's never easy just to step out there. And I know he can play better than that. So, yes.
Well, with that, just to expand upon that, I think, you know, you're talking about nerves probably playing a significant factor. Obviously, we're not there. We're not, you know, Alonzo Barnett, where we know what's going on. This is, you know, the home opener. Big crowd. UVA versus JMU. Big crowd. There's going to be a lot of people there. Maybe, you know, after this game, I think they play Troy next, where that's not some big matchup necessarily, where, you know, maybe he gets another shot. I don't know. Because, I mean, he was the one who, you know, out of, you know, camp was the QB.
Right. I mean, they brought 2 transfers in, right? He was on the team. They brought 2 transfers in, Brett Griffiths and Jordan McLeod, obviously. They brought these 2 guys in, and he won the quarterback competition, you know? They brought these guys in because they weren't sure if he was the guy, and he proved that he was the guy, you know? And that didn't relay on the field, but I still believe in him.
Yeah.
I think he can do it. But JMU currently is playing in Charlottesville. Game started same time as our show.
I don't think it had gotten going. I don't think it started on time, you know, because, of course. But we'll keep updated on that.
Yeah, so go Dukes. Good luck. They should win this game. UVA is not a good football team. But yeah. Keep it on football. This is going to be we've talked about football for the last, 2 weeks. So we're going to transition out of that in a second. But week 1 is coming up. We saw the first NFL football game happen. The Chiefs lost 21-20 to the Detroit Lions. And there's been a lot of different talking points on this game. Obviously, Travis Kelce and Chris Jones were not playing for the Chiefs. But the Lions they played a good game. It was a 1-point game, but the big story has been receiver drops. I don't know what your big takeaway from that game was, Hayden, but
yeah, no, I feel like over the offseason, the Chiefs kind of got a little cocky. You know, they 2 off seasons ago traded away Tyreek Hill still had, a lot of success.
Won a Super Bowl.
Nothing too crazy. And then, now this offseason, they had Juju Smith-Schuster, who, he's not Tyreek Hill, but, he's an NFL quality receiver. I think they also, who else did they lose? They lost somebody else.
Did they?
I swear they lost somebody else.
They lost Mecole Hardman.
Yeah. Well, he's, shown flashes. And now, I don't know who you really point to in that receiver room as wide receiver one. And then to be out, not have Travis Kelce in that game. Who is Mahomes supposed to throw to there? Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Like they got a little cocky. Because, Patrick Mahomes is a generational quarterback. I don't know. That's kind of my opinion, where it's just, I don't really trust those wide receivers. But, it's week one. They can always adjust.
Right. It's week one, right? Kadarius Toney, we've seen him.
Mm-hmm.
He's very good at football a lot of the time. Nah. I was a big fan.
Mm-hmm.
And then he left, and then he started fighting Giants fans for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
Or I guess Giants fans started fighting him,
Mm-hmm.
and it's turned into a whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, But no, he's very good with the ball in his hand, and he just didn't have a good game. And that happens. He looked a little off, honestly. And I don't know if that's because he's a little hurt, because he's a man that is constantly injured. But he was healthy for that whole game, and he just didn't seem to be quite as explosive as I know he can be. And maybe he's doing something a little different, but I don't know. He's very good though.
Yeah.
I don't want to discount that. He has the potential. Now, I was talking to Peter about this. He says he could be a top 10 wide receiver in the league. I won't go that far.
Yeah.
I will not go that far, but he has the potential to be really solidly in the top 25, 20, That's still really good. Everyone's going to have their off games. It just happened to be that it was the first game, and the Chiefs were supposed to win, and they didn't. And it was a close one.
Yeah.
But, you got to give credit to Dan Campbell. When you go for it on 4th down, fake punt, inside your own 20, and then go score a touchdown on that drive, that is a huge decision. That is the difference in the game. They did that, and they won by 1.
Yeah.
They don't win the game if that doesn't happen. Probably. Who knows? But if the game plays out the exact same way, then they don't win. So there's a lot of factors here. There's a lot of factors involved. But the Chiefs will bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not too concerned. But before we get into baseball, week 1 preview. There's a couple games I want to talk about. I don't know if there's any games you want to talk about.
I do not have any games I want to talk about.
Okay. Sunday Night Football.
Mm-hmm.
The Giants are taking on the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm.
Big week 1. This is what the Sunday Night Football week 1 matchup used to be every year. It was always Giants-Cowboys for like 5 years in a row, from like 2010 to 2015. That was always the week 1 Sunday night game. And now it's back. It's very exciting. But they are playing in MetLife.
Mm-hmm.
What's going on in this game? There's a lot of things happening. The Giants kind of just solidified. They obviously just signed Daniel Jones, and they've made a lot of changes to that offense. Both of these teams were in the playoffs last year. What do you think happens in this game?
I think right now the thing that kind of concerns me is Darren Waller is questionable with a hamstring issue. And I wasn't watching Giants games. You're probably watching more Giants preseason games than I was.
He was the whole offense.
He was the whole offense.
He was the whole offense.
So not having him, probably not a good thing. I mean, if he's not healthy, I feel like that's probably a pretty convincing Cowboys win. If he's healthy, I think the Giants can kind of make a run at it. The Cowboys, to me, aren't this, like I'm going to say World Series or bust, because, baseball, but Super Bowl or bust type team in my head, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Where I don't think they're just going to run over every single team in the league this year. So, it would be a close game. He is healthy. Kind of concept.
Yeah. That is the big thing. His injury isn't supposed to be too severe.
That was the latest report I saw. But I mean, if he's not 100...
He is another guy that's very injury prone. So, a big concern.
Yeah. Don't want the injuries to start in week one.
No, we don't. Who's your Super Bowl pick, Hayden?
My Super Bowl pick? Oh, I haven't thought about this at all. I don't even know. The Seahawks good? I think the Seahawks are kind of good.
They got Geno Smith.
They're kind of good.
They got a very good receiving core.
Yeah. I feel like that offense is really good. I don't know how good that defense is, but that would be fun.
The Seahawks. I like it. It's funny. I talked to Peter about that. I was like, some people are saying that Seahawks are Super Bowl contenders, and he didn't even want to talk about it. He just gave me that Peter stare.
I mean, I'm not saying they're the best team in the league on paper, but I mean, you know me. I'm not the one here to pick the favorite and then just be done with it. I like to be a little quirky, a little weird with my picks sometimes. Obviously, I do believe in them when I do pick them, but just looking at these teams and on paper, Seahawks are pretty good.
Yeah, no, they're a solid team.
I think they're better than the Cowboys.
I do too.
Yeah.
I think I picked them to make the playoffs over the Cowboys. Yeah, I did.
No, Jeremy, I know you don't want to. I'm sure you guys talked a lot of football on here. I'm looking at your little spreadsheet there. Do you want to explain that number 4 pick to me, please?
The Saints?
Yeah.
They're going to win their division.
Who's... Oh, yeah. Never mind. Okay, we're good. That makes sense. Okay. You see, I forget divisional alignment sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a bad division.
Yeah, that's put it kind of nice. But
it's a very bad division.
It's okay. Tom Brady comes out of retirement, carries the Bucks back to the playoffs.
If he comes out of retirement, he's not playing for the Bucks. He's playing for the Raiders or the Patriots.
Okay.
What?
Nothing.
What, you don't...
Nah, man. Jimmy G, he's got the Raiders on lock, man.
There's nothing Tom Brady likes more than ruining Jimmy G's career options.
Uh-huh.
Anyway. Baseball.
Baseball.
There's been a lot that we have not talked about. For those who don't know, we haven't done this show in a long time, but we've got another show called Rounding Third that we just talk baseball on. And it's been like 3 or 4 months since we did that.
Yeah, we've been mostly talking about Nats.
So, Hayden, this will be a mega Rounding Third episode.
A mega Rounding Third episode. I love it. How long? Oh, we have a mega Rounding Third.
We've got an hour
in 10 minutes
ish to talk about this. So,
70 minutes of baseball. Buckle in, everybody.
Are you excited?
I'm very excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah.
So, here's what we're going to start with. Playoff races.
Playoff races. There's a lot of them.
There are a lot of them.
Yes.
Obviously, the most intriguing ones a lot of the time are wild card races, but there's a couple division races this season that are a little more interesting to me right now. and one of them is the AL West.
The AL West.
The AL West.
Yeah.
You have those three teams, the Rangers, the Mariners, and the Astros, all within 1 or 2 games of each other. I know there was one
2
game
games. Or 3
a
games.
couple days ago, but I don't remember what happened since.
There's 3 games for the actual division title. But we're talking about like wild card standings. They're all within 2 games of making the playoffs. So there's that. And like you said, the Houston Astros are on top right now. The Seattle Mariners are half a game back, and then the Texas Rangers are 3 games back of the Astros. That's just a really tight divisional race. We know the Rangers held the lead and held sole possession of that first place spot for a long time this season. And, you know, the Mariners have played a really good brand of baseball since the All-Star break. And the Houston Astros have finally, you know, decided, oh, wait, yeah, we're the Houston Astros. All they needed was Justin Verlander, and they were back. But no, I mean, it's the Houston Astros. Jose Abreu is starting to hit like Jose Abreu, which is always good when, you know, your big free agent signing like actually hits like he's supposed to.
Yeah.
You know, Jose Altuve hit like 3 home runs in a game the other day, which, you know, is he a Hall of Famer, Jeremy?
Probably.
Do we think that the scandal puts a big impact on that, dent on that case?
I don't, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. I
Because
think
people don't care about it anymore, like right now.
they do.
There are 2 fan bases that care about it.
So, I think the general fans, like, still, general casual fans hate Jose Altuve still. I think baseball writers, I don't think they care anymore. Because he's been proven to not take part in that, like, the entire time. Like,
Mhm.
and he was against it. Obviously, he probably should have been like, no, and, like, destroyed everything. But, you know, can't really fault him too much.
No.
He didn't participate actively in that scandal. The other kind of fun race, I guess, actually, no, that they've kind of fallen out. The other fun race, Jeremy, that I really like is the AL East.
Mm-hmm.
Who's going to win the most games there? Because, you know, that's kind of important seeding.
Yeah.
So, pretty important. Baltimore are 4 games ahead of the Rays, which the Rays are.
We'll get into the Rays in a little bit.
Yeah.
There's a whole thing going on with that.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about the AL West more? I'm sorry, I kind of pivoted a little.
No,
bit
that's
quick.
fine.
I just, you know, the Mariners have just played good baseball. I think the Rangers, when you look at what their bullpen's done all year, bullpens in modern baseball kind of win you championships. And the Rangers haven't had a good bullpen all year. Like, they haven't had a lockdown closer at all this year. Even when they, you know, went and acquired Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah, their bullpen's been really bad since this month started.
So it kind of makes sense why they've been bad. We'll see. Who do you think wins the AL West? I guess my question is to you, Jeremy.
The way the Astros are playing baseball right now, the Mariners too,
Mm-hmm.
but just the way that those 2 teams are playing baseball, I don't think the Rangers are going to win it.
Oh, absolutely not.
But, you know, there's I think the Astros just got hot at the right time. You know,
Mhm.
the Mariners, they've been scorching hot right now too. But they, I don't know, they're just, the Astros, they started off the season really slow. I mean, so did the Mariners. But this team, they're just built for playoff success,
Mm-hmm.
you know? And I think that they're going to be able to pull it out.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I'm a big biased Mariners rooter for. So, you know, I got that bias in me. But I think that Astros is probably right.
Yeah.
In the playoffs, though, I think the Mariners have a better shot than they have
Why?
in years past. Just because, I mean, when you look at, like, the way, because, I mean, you know, they're probably going to play against the Astros in the postseason, like early in the postseason, and I think they're better suited for that than they were last year, and we saw how close it was last year. Where, I mean, they had, like, what? I think that game went to, like, the 14th inning or something like that, with, like, no runs being scored. I think Seattle has a better chance this time around against the Astros.
Yeah, they're... I don't... The Astros feel weaker.
They are.
But also, the Mariners don't feel like they got better.
I mean, Teoscar Hernandez is an upgrade over what Jesse Winker was last year. Jared Kelenic is looking much better this year. I mean, he's still working back from injury right now. Andres Munoz is so good. Like, that guy just throws that baseball so well. As that closer, you're talking about the Rangers not having a lockdown closer. The Mariners do. I mean, so do the Astros. And, I mean, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo at the top of the rotation.
You got Brian Wu there, too.
Brian Wu, Bryce Miller. Like, they've got a very deep, very good pitching staff. One that, arguably no team in the league competed against.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's just the way the Astros are. It's hard to pick against them, because they still have that same core. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, Jeremy Pena has just not been what he was last year, and that's the big difference. I feel like. Yeah, I mean, that is the big difference for them. Because when you still have Bregman, you still have Jose Abreu heating up is huge for them. There's been a lot of controversy with Chas McCormick. Chas McCormick, look at what he's done this year. That guy's been really good. So, I mean, they've got pieces. It's just, they weren't clicking, and now they're starting to click.
Yeah. No, I mean, growing pains. Obviously, the Mariners made a lot of moves for a team that was in the playoffs, and they weren't small moves, Well, not all of them, but they made a couple big moves for a team that made the playoffs last year.
Like in the offseason?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at, it continues to be a black hole, offensively at second base, with Adam Frazier and Colton Wong necessarily didn't really do anything to help that. And then, obviously, Gino Suarez at third base has been really good. J.P. Crawford, he worked, his butt off this offseason. Raised his swing speed, which for a guy with the plate discipline that he has is huge when you can start to hit for some power. When you, can walk a lot and have good strike zone recognition. And, Julio is finally starting to hit like Julio. Which I think that was the big thing for them this year, is just Julio Rodriguez getting going, because, talk about him as a prospect. He wasn't supposed to play center field, and now he's out here playing Gold Glove center field. Like, the sky's the limit for him.
Yeah, he's so good.
He's what you hope, as a Nats fan, what James Wood or Dylan Cruz are.
Yeah, and I mean, he went out on that stretch in last month. I forget exactly the dates, where he was hitting like 400 over. It wasn't a small stretch either. It was like over 2 weeks. He hit like 400 with whatever other crazy numbers he was putting up. It's
yeah.
It's insane. But no, that is a really interesting division to look at. You do think we said the Rangers weren't going to make the playoffs, but do you think that I don't know if this. I think it's obvious that the top two teams that in that division are going to make the playoffs, whether it be division or wild card.
I mean, yeah, they kind of have to. When you look at the Central's only sending one team, then even then, like, they unfortunately are sending a team almost with like what the Twins' record is. And then in the AL East, they're pretty stacked. I mean, Boston's about 500.
Yeah.
The Yankees are one game below 500. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you think the Rangers make the playoffs here?
No.
No, not at all.
I mean, they can, but you're going to have to get hot almost. And this late in the season, it's kind of hard to get going. Especially, like I said, Toronto is playing really good baseball. Boston's playing really good baseball. I mean, they're not necessarily playing against each other. Let me quickly look and see what the Rangers play for the rest of the season.
Quick update on the JMU UVA game. JMU takes an early 13-0 lead off a blocked punt recovered in the end zone for a touchdown. That's their second blocked punt of the season in just 2 games. So, this will be fun. Oh. But yeah, Toronto is interesting, right?
So over the next, I mean, they can. They play Toronto. They're playing Oakland this weekend. They play Toronto after that. Then they play Cleveland and then Boston. They don't have a single off day.
All right.
Which, I mean, Cleveland's
and how far out are they?
Chasing it. They're a game and a half out of the wild card. 3 games out of the top spot. Then they play day off. Then they play Seattle, the Angels, and then 4 more games against Seattle. So there's 7 games against Seattle within their last 10 games.
That'll be tough.
So that's the decider right there.
Yeah.
Toronto, hopefully you're going to try to bury them. At least that's what they're hoping for, because they're kind of competing for that 3rd wild card spot right
now. Speaking of Toronto, you wanted to jump over to the AL East earlier, and let's do that now. But what is up with them? Because they're a team that when on our show, Nats Report, when we talked about the Nats, we talked about them recently. Their pitching is, at least their top guys, are pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, Kevin Gausman's probably winning in the AL Cy Young. Garrett Cole and Luis Castillo can kind of change that within this last 2 weeks-ish of the season. And then, Chris Bassett's just doing Chris Bassett things. Jose Barrios has had a half-decent season. Yusei Kikuchi, who, former Mariner, former All-Star for the Mariners, having a good year. And then they just got one of my favorite pitchers, Hyunjin Ryu, back from the IL. He's coming back from Tommy John. So, talk about, the Mariners and their rotation. They have a rotation that's up there, too.
And they still have, obviously Alek Manoah has been garbage this season.
Yeah.
But they still have him, and I still believe he can bounce back. Maybe not this season, but at some point.
No, I think the real question mark for them is, one, can Davis Schneider keep up what he's been doing? Because he's been one of the best hitters in baseball, since he's been up. And then, can Bo Bichette stay healthy? Because, we've seen him been on the IL a bunch lately. If Bo Bichette's healthy, I think this team can make the playoffs. But if not,
Yeah, because the offense has been the weakness, which is not what I expected heading into the season with the Blue Jays. Their offense has just been bad.
Yeah, so they there's been studies done, and your team OPS correlates pretty strongly with your run production. They're 10th in OPS, 15th in runs scored. So maybe you can make an argument that they're underperforming on that runs scored a little bit, but Vlad just hasn't been good. He's been good. He's been solid.
He just hasn't had a Vlad season.
He's not having what is supposed to be. He's supposed to be an MVP over there, and he's only 14% better than the guy. Which, then he's also playing first base, which talking about how good he is compared to other first basemen, is probably even a little bit worse.
I thought he was pretty solid defensively. I've never looked at his defensive metrics, but
he's, on the, or in the clubhouse, we talked about how bad some of the Nats defenders are. He's down there in that bottom 5 in defensive value in the league. No, I mean, like I said, just offensively though, he hasn't been putting up good numbers. Which, if you're not putting up the best numbers as a first baseman offensively, not very good. And all the notifications over here, Jeremy. Yeah, I mean, I think they're very clearly like the 3rd best team in the AL East.
Yeah.
The Orioles are very good. The Rays just have so much depth where you can lose what is considered a generational talent.
Still be competing for the best record in the league.
Yeah, it's hard to do that. But the Rays are just built different.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah,
the Rays are something.
Yeah, I mean, you're talking about an offense that ranks 30 home runs, 2nd in stolen bases. Pretty impressive. Having you in the clubhouse literally 2 days ago. You were talking about you build a team based off speed, just 8 speedsters and a power guy. Yeah, they're pretty much doing that, but then they also, they're not just speedsters. Their speedsters are power guys.
Yeah.
Which really hard to do. They do it well. Even despite injuries, their starting catcher got hurt. Now they have a whole new catcher who just came out of nowhere and is just hitting bombs for them. Renee Pinto. It's just impressive. I don't know
what they do down there to be so good at scouting, but they're very good at it.
Yeah.
So, props to them. But no, the Orioles. That's who they're fighting with for best record in the league. Now, I know you were high on them this season, but I don't think you were this high on them.
I have them coming in 2nd, behind the Yankees. So, I mean, if you just, put the Yankees on the bottom, my ranking is correct, which is pretty cool. I'm doing a pretty good job. I'll take that. The Orioles are really good, man. And I feel like they're not even the best that they can be.
What do you mean?
That's weird. I feel like Adley Rutschman isn't necessarily having what I would call an Adley Rutschman superstar, best catcher in the league season. I mean, he's been very, very good. But he's not like I said, not the greatest catcher in baseball. I don't think. Maybe the stats have changed since I've last looked. Gunnar Henderson took a while to get hot and get going, but he's now insane. Anthony Santander has been really good. Austin Hayes is starting to heat up finally, where a lot of these guys were cold for the first half of the season, and now they're heating up. Where I think I think they can be better than this. When you talk about Grayson Rodriguez, we talked on rounding 3rd about how I was super hyped for him to come up. He struggled a ton, got sent back down, and since he came back up, he's been one of the best pitchers in baseball. And then they have Kyle Bradish, who's been one of the best pitchers in baseball all year. Dean Kremer, who is finally putting it together. I've been talking about this guy, and every single year he's that guy where it's this might be the year where he finally puts it all together, and he's finally putting it all together, which is huge. Where this rotation doesn't have the names, coming into the year. Their top of the rotation guy was Kyle Gibson and Cole Irvin, which those guys are normally your 4 and 5 on a really good team. And they're fine. I mean, Cole Irvin's not even in the rotation anymore. Kyle Gibson is now your number 5 starter. The team is just put it together finally.
And they're getting John Means back soon.
John Means back soon. My favorite Immaculate Grid guy.
We love John Means.
Yeah. 300 batting average in an All-Star. That's huge. In that Immaculate Grid space. Used him today, actually.
Oh.
Yeah, I got 0.03%.
Nice.
On him, yeah. We love that.
We do love that.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, that pitching has been really good, and the bullpen too. I mean,
they're
they
out.
got some of the best. Back of the rotation.
Bautista is on the IL right now, but I mean that guy was. Not often are we talking about a closer being in the Cy Young race in like post 2010. And he was genuinely had an argument to win the Cy Young this year. Yainer Cano has been really good. Of course, Danny Columne, I believe is how you say his name. Just came over from the Twins and has been really good. Fujinami, who they brought over from the A's, has been solid. They just have all these great guys. I mean, DL Hall was another one of those pitching prospects, and he's been solid for them. So they're just kind of getting contribution from everybody. It's really funny though. Yainer Cano, who was kind of like this breakout reliever for them, who they got when they traded away their closer last trade deadline. That closer was traded in a swap with Miami this trade deadline, and then Miami waived and DFA'd him, and now he's back with the Orioles. So they've lost nothing essentially, and they got him back down the playoff stretch, which is just hilarious to me.
Yeah. No, it's that team's really good. I'm glad they're good.
Yeah.
I'm a Nats fan, obviously, or maybe not obviously, but I'm a Nats fan. It's the Orioles and Nats, obviously with the new schedule, they play each other every year, but they would play each other every year anyway.
The
Beltway series, and I would always go to that game as a kid, and it was always fun but it only happened once when both teams were good, but that was the most fun.
Yeah.
So I love it when the Orioles are good, and I especially love it when the Orioles and the Nationals are good at the same time. So, fingers crossed, knock on wood, right around the corner, the Nationals will be good in 2 years, and the Orioles should still be good then too. So that'll be exciting. I am looking forward to that, because there was a year where there was a legitimate case for it to be a World Series matchup, and I think it was 2012 or 2013 or something, and that would have been cool.
Yeah,
that would have been really cool actually.
And we were always talking about what if the Mets and Yankees was a last year, it was we'll finally get a Beltway series, or not Beltway, Subway series. Same thing with Chicago when both those teams were peaking, and then they've both kind of fallen into disarray, and then one kind of came back up out of the ashes, and the other one's looks like they're going to lose the AL Central next year. Not to name names. Yeah, that's always fun.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, the Yankees, you said, obviously you had them winning the division this year. And now they are below 500 down the stretch of the season. What happened to them? Obviously they got hit by the injury bug, but that's not enough to explain it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, they were injured, and then when they weren't injured, they were bad. Josh Donaldson, I didn't expect to just all of a sudden become one of the worst hitters in baseball. Carlos Rodon wasn't healthy for most of the year, and it feels like every other start he's getting lit up. It's just they're just haven't been good. They haven't hit. They've had, Jake Bowers and Franchi Cordero on their roster for most of the year. Anthony Rizzo was playing with a concussion for half the season. It's just, I don't know. It just hasn't been good. And then, obviously, the lineup we already knew going into the year was kind of we got a bunch of, major league quality hitters, and then Aaron Judge. And then when Aaron Judge isn't in the lineup, and then you just have a really meh team.
But it's not even that. It seems they are physically incapable of scoring runs when Aaron Judge isn't providing that offense. And I know that Yankees team is just meh without him, but they're better than that without him, you would think.
Well, like I said, Josh Donaldson was one of the worst hitters in the major leagues, and they were having to roster Jake Bauers and Franchi Cordero, which those guys struggle to get jobs on bad teams. To kind of contextualize who they are. Yeah, it's just they're not a very good team this year. They don't have any depth. I mean, we're talking about how the Rays just have depth. They don't have any depth. They've been exciting recently because they called up
The outfielder.
Austin Wells, the catcher, Austin Wells, and Jason Dominguez, Jason the Martian Dominguez. It was funny because he's younger than us, and he, I don't know how much you know about Yankee traditions and all that. Like about the roll call and all that?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, for the roll call, he did like the E.T. sign, and then afterwards he was like, yeah, I've never seen the movie, they just told me to do that. And that was really funny. But that guy, I mean, the expectations for him, it's kind of sad, because, the Yankees fans, since 2018 almost, have been expecting this guy to come up and just be better than Mike Trout. Like, that's the expectations that were thrust upon this kid. And, we're talking about a guy who was never, on, like, the national lists, on, like, Baseball America, MLB Pipeline, Fangraphs, Prospectus, all those places. He was never, like, a top 5 prospect. And they're expecting this out of this kid, which is really rough, but, I mean, so far
it's been really good.
Where I was, the other day, I was like, I haven't really looked to see how he's been doing. Like, I've seen, like, a couple home runs from him, but, you can hit 2 home runs and still be a terrible hitter. Kyle Schwarber.
I love
really
the season that Kyle Schwarber's had. It's
so
my favorite to look at. It's
just terrible. And then the guy's just got like a 1200 OPS, Brian Dominguez, where he's just been really good. So, good for him. Good for the Yankees fans. Happy for them.
I love the Kyle Schwarber season.
Yeah.
Hitting 180.
Having more home runs than singles.
In the race for a home run leader in the NL, hitting 180.
Like, quite literally, like, costing his team a win by F4. Like, just... But he hits dingers out of the leadoff spot.
That is what he does.
That's what he does.
He is the 3 true potential.
Yeah. We want to talk about some NL teams.
Yeah.
I'm tired about talking about the AL.
No
AL stinks.
The NL wildcard race is kind of crazy right now.
I have some very hot takes about the NL wildcard race.
Please indulge me.
Okay. So, just so, everyone at home listening in their car, wherever you are, kind of a little bit.
Whoa.
There are, you would say,
You're a poet,
5
and you
teams.
didn't even have any idea.
There's 5 teams in the wild card race. You have the Chicago Cubs, the Arizona Diamondbacks, the Miami Marlins, the Cincinnati Reds, and the San Francisco Giants. In that order. In like where they're currently ranked. I think that's what it is. I think this is just how the season ends. I think those 2 teams, the Cubs and the Diamondbacks, get those final 2 wildcard spots.
You don't think that the Diamondbacks fall out? They've been kind of slumping recently.
When you're talking about the talent on that team, I think they're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think they're fine. I mean, they're a young team. I think they'll be fine. I think they have enough talent on that roster where the Marlins, look at the stretch of games that they're having to play. It's, not very exciting. They're playing the Phillies right now. Then they have to go ahead and take on Milwaukee. Then they have to, for 4 games. Then they have to play Atlanta for 3 games, the Mets for 3 games, and then Milwaukee for 3 games. And then they play the Mets and the Pirates again. But I think that by then they're going to be out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Milwaukee is a very good team this year. The Cincinnati Reds have been a fun story. I don't know if Matt McLean is back. That might
He was
change.
playing. I thought he was back.
I'm looking now. If he's not healthy, it's hard to see them doing anything. Because we talk about Ellie De La Cruz. Matt McLean's been like the guy for them this year. By far. He's been much better. And that rotation still isn't healthy enough where I think I give it to the Reds.
Yeah. They're getting healthier though, aren't they? Didn't a pitcher or two come back?
Hunter Green's back. He's starting on Sunday. But, I mean, Votto's coming back from the IL. India's coming back from the IL. So, I mean, they're getting healthier. But, I mean, I don't think... Oh, Matt McLean is on the 10-day. Let's see. He'll be out for 2 to 3 weeks as of September 3rd. So, he's not going to be back to make any sort of meaningful contribution.
How many games back are they? I know they're not in right now, but...
They're 1.5.
That's so doable.
It's doable, but I mean, the Cubs
I just don't
really
like
good right
the
now.
Cubs.
Cubs are,
I understand the Cubs keep winning games, right? I understand that.
Yeah.
I just don't like the Cubs as not like as a fan, but just I just
you
don't
like their roster?
I just don't understand how they're winning games. I guess is a better way to put it. You know?
I mean, Cody Bellinger's been solid this year. They have some of the best infield defense in the league with Nico Horner and D'Angelo Swanson. Seiya Suzuki has been like red hot lately. And we talk about how much we love Heimer as Nats fans. They have him hitting in the 7 hole.
Yeah.
So we just want to talk about how deep that lineup has been.
Just kind of disappeared when he went to the Cubs.
That's here. And you got Justin Steele, who's an ace. Jordan Wicks, who's like a top prospect. He's been pitching well. Javier Assad has been really good since he came back in the rotation. Jameson Taillon's been better of late. And Marcus Stroman
He's doing Marcus Stroman things.
is hurt, but he's back almost. He's about to start making a rehab assignment. So he'll be back sooner rather than later. Where he's not going to be throwing 6 innings, but he'll give you 75 pitches every 5th day, which if he's throwing in the first half, Marcus Stroman, that's Cy Young quality, 75 innings. So there's 75 pitches. So
I don't know. Maybe it's just because they're not flashy or
they're just
anything
solid.
like that.
They're just they're solid at everything. I mean,
They're just a very boring team.
they're 6th in the league in runs scored, 9th in starting pitcher ERA, 14th in reliever ERA. They just get it done. They're above average at everything, and that gets you into the playoffs. And they're 2 games back from the Brewers in the wild card, or in the division race, or 3 games back in the division race.
Look, man, the Nats aren't going to make the playoffs, so I want a fun playoffs.
Uh-huh.
And the Cubs just aren't a fun team.
I think they're fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Christopher Morel, who one series will go, 7 for 11 with 4 home runs, and then the next series will go 1 for 11 with 9 strikeouts. Like, what's not fun about that?
That sounds intriguing.
They got Yan Gomes.
I love Young Gomes.
Yan Gomes is on that roster, Jeremy. What is not to like? You knew they were going to make the playoffs when they had Yan Gomes behind the dish as their starting catcher. Like, come on, what are you on about, man?
You're right. My bad. I should have thought about that more.
Yeah, should have thought about the Yan Gomes experience.
The Yan Gomes experience. World Series champion Yan Gomes.
He caught the final out of a World Series.
He did.
He did.
He's a World Series champion.
World Series champion. Do you have any other thoughts on this NL race?
The Marlins are weird, but we'll get to that in a
They're
second. We've reached the top of the hour here on WXJM, 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. You're listening to the Triple Threat Show. My name is Jeremy Lapidus. I am joined today by
Hayden Raymer.
Thank you so much for tuning in. We are talking baseball. Quick score update on JMU Virginia. It is currently 17-7. JMU is still winning.
When in the game is it?
Honestly, I have no idea. I think it's like the beginning of the second quarter, but I've only been briefly looking at it.
End of the first quarter.
Nailed it.
3 minutes ago. Tweeted by JMU football.
Cool. So I'm about right.
You're about right.
But no, this is the Marlins, because they weren't supposed to be competing for a playoff spot this year. They were?
Yeah.
Were they?
Yeah.
Were they?
Yeah. They've been competing for a playoff spot for the past 2 years, Jeremy.
But were they?
They're trying to compete. They've been trying to compete. Now, if you believe they're going to be in the race at this point in the year, maybe not. But they were, had playoff intentions. Like, if they didn't make the playoffs, I think that front office would be, and the team would be disappointed.
It's fair. But they just, you say they're bad, right?
Bad.
And they're not going to make the playoffs. They're just not. But, I don't know. They're not bad. They've got good pitching. And they got some bats now. They went out and they got Josh Bell.
Mm-hmm.
They went out and they got Jake Berger.
Mm-hmm.
Got some pop in the lineup again.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I feel like this team should be, I don't want to say better. Yeah, they should be better. That's what I'll say.
I just, when you look in there, right, so when I kind of judge a playoff team, who's their guy in that lineup?
Nah.
I think they have some really solid players. I think they have a really good group of guys. This is your issue with the Cubs. They don't have that guy. Cody Bellinger is kind of that guy, but he's not a long-term guy, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But he's been that guy for them. I don't think the Marlins necessarily have that guy. Is Jazz Chisholm your guy? Is Josh Bell your guy? I don't think those are bats that you necessarily...
They're big names, but they're not your guy.
I don't think your guy that you build, it's not when I look at World Series teams, right? Or a team that I think is probably making the World Series. Mariners have Julio. The Astros have Yordan Alvarez. The Braves have Ronald Acuña Jr. The Dodgers have I'm blanking on his name. Freddie Freeman, Mookie Betts. They have 2 guys. That's why 2-for-1 deal. Even the Diamondbacks, they have Corbin Carroll. The Phillies have Bryce Harper. They have that guy.
Right.
I feel like the Marlins don't necessarily, and the Cubs kind of don't have that.
No, they don't. No, the Marlins are also a boring team that I don't really want to see make the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they will.
No.
But
really good pitching, though.
Yes, I love pitching. You know what? They do have that guy, and it's Sandy.
Sandy's not that guy, Jeremy. Have you seen what he's done this year?
He's been so much better recently, though.
Yeah.
He had a really bad start, but he's been...
IL, Jeremy.
Since when?
His third. He's probably done for the year, man. He's strength flexor.
Oh, yeah, he's done for the year. Rip Sandy.
I'll give you a guy.
Yuri Perez. Yuri Perez is a guy.
I'm a better guy than that.
Better guy?
Better guy than him. Former national. Jesus Luzardo.
I forgot he was a national.
Yeah, he's been really good, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he has.
Yeah. .359 ERA. Striking out how many batters a nine? 10?
10?
10.49.
It's pretty good.
10.5 every 9 innings. I'll take that. I guess, if I have to.
I guess.
I guess. He's been really good.
Yeah. But speaking of the NL East, you mentioned the Braves.
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're pretty good.
Pretty good.
They've got the best record in the league, yeah? Or do the Orioles still have it?
I am checking. 92 wins. Yeah, they have the best record in the league.
They also have 2 MVP candidates. No?
Who?
Olsen and Acuna?
I think Olsen doesn't finish top 3.
You don't think he finishes top 3?
Jeremy, I don't think you've seen what Mookie Betts
I
and Freddie Freeman
have
done.
seen what they have done.
Mookie
Okay?
Betts is playing shortstop, Jeremy. And Freddie Freeman's out-hit Olsen, so... Olsen's like top 5 MVP, but he's not top 3.
Those are the 4 MVP candidates right there.
Yeah, I think calling Olsen a candidate is
Yes.
kind of tricky. I think it's Mookie Betts and Ronald Acuna Jr., if we're being honest.
It's Ronald Acuna Jr.
Okay.
What?
I disagree.
Really?
I think Mookie Betts is the MVP.
I don't think he'll win.
Okay, that's fair. I understand why people vote for Ronald, especially if, he puts up a 40-70 season.
Yeah, yeah.
But I think, we're talking about arbitrary numbers there. There's, better ways to measure offensive output than how many bases did you steal and how many home runs did you hit.
I don't know. It's the MVP is an award that doesn't take into consideration that a lot of the time.
Yeah.
But I think it's Acuna's right now.
Okay, that's fair. I'll give you that. I think you're wrong, but I don't think he's the MVP. But I respect your opinion.
I think that's the worst, and I hate that.
The Braves are pretty good. They got a good rotation. Everybody knows that the Braves are good. I don't know. Yeah.
I forgot what I was gonna say about the Braves.
Okay.
I think it was just that they're really good.
Yeah.
But they're really good.
Yeah, they are really good.
The reason I wanted to talk about the NL East is because the Nats have had a lot of news.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about it a lot on our other show. But Steven Strasburg, there was more news that came out about it after we did our show.
Uh-huh.
So, basically, for those who weren't watching,
who don't listen to In the Clubhouse
with the Nats Report
on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Mm-hmm. For those who don't listen to that, Steven Strasburg is retiring. He is a very good baseball player who got very hurt and can no longer play baseball. And he has a lot of money that is owed to him, and he's going to retire early, and they were going to work out a deal. But stuff happened. Do you want to fill us in?
Okay, so this is honestly, I guess, question. Do you want me to tie in the front office stuff that's been going on into this? Okay, so last Saturday, or I guess 2 weeks ago, it was reported that there was going to be a press conference to honor Steven Strasburg. There was never an official announcement from the team, but, there was, leaks, reports, whatever you want to call it, that he was going to have this retirement presser today. And then Saturday, news broke that the longtime international scouting director, Johnny DePolgia, was mutually resigning.
Mm-hmm.
It was kind of a mutual resignation where I guess he wasn't really the team. Then you saw a lot of the international scouts get fired or laid off, however you want to phrase it. Okay? Sorry, Jeremy's showing me a picture. But yeah, no, and then you see 12 scouts. I think it's actually up to 14 now. From both in an international scouting department and then also just national cross-checkers. I believe there's one pro scout and a few special assistants that were all let go. And that was Saturday through Wednesday, or Saturday through Tuesday. Wednesday, it comes out that this presser that's scheduled for today is canceled. It's pushed back to indefinitely. We don't know when it's going to happen. Then Britt Rowley of The Athletic says that the team originally approached Strasburg about paying him his full contract, the full $110 million that he's still owed, and then they walked back on that. So then that's all we hear. You see Nats fans in outrage. There's many who are like, I don't believe, you guys are out here trying to tarnish the Nats. You got an axe to grind against the Nats, Nats ownership. Britt Rowley also went on Grant and Danny, a local talk show in D.C., and said that Mark Lerner was writing personal checks to keep the team afloat. Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic writes this article about how the Nats are trying to cut down front office spending. And there's, just this general picture of chaos painted. And then yesterday morning, Jim Bowden, former Nationals GM, now a writer for The Athletic and a talk show host on the MLB Network radio, tweeted out that the walking back necessarily wasn't Mark Lerner, that the commissioner's office reached out to Mark Lerner and was like, hey, this sets a bad precedent. You can't do that. And then Mark Lerner kind of then twisted Rizzo's arm and was like, hey, we're not allowed to do this. And then this is where it gets kind of crazy, in my opinion. Jim Bowden then deletes the tweet and doesn't say anything. So
it didn't get crazy when the commissioner was like, you can't pay that
guy?
No,
that is crazy. But, that's, what? And then he deletes the tweet. And so now it's like, is this true? Is there somebody who's like... It's a really weird situation. Capital, all caps, bold, circle, weird. This is very, very, very strange. I don't know what is happening.
Yeah.
Then Mark Lerner releases a statement, and he's like, we thought these were closed-door negotiations. The media is mischaracterizing this, and we look forward to seeing Strasburg report to spring training. Which he has to say that. I see Jeremy making a face. Strasburg, nothing in there states that Strasburg is planning to retire. You can't really go out and say that without that being finalized, because then that creates a whole issue. So it makes sense why he says that. He knows, we know, Strasburg knows he's not coming to spring training next year. And I think the issue with Strauss retiring, in my opinion, right, is we're talking about a guy who quite literally can't function day to day at a normal, the way you and I function. He gets numbness if he stands for too long. I don't know if he's still experiencing these conditions, but the last big article about how he was doing was just to not feel in pain. He would have to lay down on his couch with his hand over his chest just to not feel bad. So a guy who just quite literally just can't function and can't pitch. And then you'd be like, hey, sorry, you're not getting all that contract, all that money that you promised. The contract, by the way, is fully guaranteed. It's not insured. So then when you medically retire, there is a precedent that you still get paid out for that. David Wright, Prince Fielder, just to name it. It's just, like I said, a really weird situation. And then further dysfunction, the guy who's done a lot of the recent drafts, Chris Klein, has been shifted to a new role within the organization. And he's going to kind of just handle pro scouting. So the guy who's been doing all the drafts for the Nats is being switched around. So there's a lot of movement. I know Jesse Daughtry of the Washington Post in one of his game recaps, was talking about how a lot of these changes that we saw, this was early on when the first 10 or so names came out. There's a lot more changes to be made both on the scouting and player development side. So this front office looks like it's going to look completely different next season. Oh, and by the way, Mike Rizzo doesn't have an extension past this year, and the team is for sale. So it's just chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Is the general picture being painted? I know a lot of Nats fans are like, upset about this coverage. I don't know.
Well, let's take this one step at a time.
Yeah.
First of all, I'm one to trust what the Athletic reports.
Yeah.
So, that's something.
Yeah. I think there's the only comment that like makes me raise an eyebrow where I'm a little skeptical is the writing personal checks thing. But I don't know. That one kind of I'm a little skeptical
Keeping
on.
them afloat, maybe not, but writing personal checks, I don't think I'd be that shocked by.
Yeah, like I don't think this team is bleeding out money and they're about to go bankrupt, especially since they were offered $2 million from the Nationals earlier this year. Did I say $2 million?
Yeah.
$2 billion. My bad.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's
$2 billion.
quite the undersell.
Yeah, $2 billion. Much better, much higher number. So I don't think that's necessarily that doesn't line up in my brain. Like the math is not mapping there.
But that's interesting. I wonder why the commissioner has an opinion on this.
Oh, I mean, it's Rob Manfred.
Because, like you said, there's been examples of this in the past where similar things happen.
Mm-hmm.
You listed a couple. David Wright is a much better example than Prince Fielder because he was, in the Mets uniform forever.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't understand Rob Manfred and where he chooses to take a stand. I'm taking the Athletic report as fact when I make this opinion.
Mm-hmm.
But I thought they were telling us something. That was from the WXJM group chat. So.
Okay.
So I'm taking this as fact. That's my caveat here. Obviously, this is all alleged, but I'm taking it as fact when I say these things.
Yeah.
There's no reason for Rob Manfred to have a say in this.
Yeah. I mean, I think you kind of talked about it. But, you briefly talked about Strasburg's legacy. For those of you who don't follow baseball, don't know who Strasburg is, we're talking about a generational talent. We're talking about one of the most hyped players of all time, arguably the greatest player to put on the Nationals uniform, pitched for the team his entire career, is the only World Series MVP for this team. He pretty much won them their ring in 2019 with his pitching performances, especially in Game 6 of the World Series. We're talking about an icon, the type of guy who you build a statue outside of the stadium for.
Mm-hmm.
And to kind of sour that relationship is just kind of like, why? I don't know why you would kind of take the cheap way out of this. Especially, it's not like Strasburg's like, I don't know, man, I don't really want to play baseball anymore. This guy is a grinder. This guy wants to be out on the mound. He just physically cannot do it. And I think to kind of just sour what should be a thing that we, celebrate and we, are happy for him to, kind of make that next step in his career and, enjoy the rest of his life and celebrate his career. To kind of sour that in any way just doesn't make sense. And that's without even talking about the, baseball operations implications from this.
Yeah. There's a lot of moving pieces in this. And we don't really have time to get into it enough, honestly. but just pay the man.
Yeah, just give the guy his money.
It really
let him retire.
isn't a big deal, you know? Like, there's plenty of $100 million contracts in the MLB.
Yeah, I mean they owe him $110 million over the next 3 years.
I mean, that's a lot of money, but just you have the ability to pay it. It's in the salary cap, or not salary cap, I guess. There's no salary cap in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
But you have the money to do it. MLB has the money to do it.
Or the Nationals, right?
The Nationals, too.
No, I mean, it's just, I don't know. It's weird, for sure.
Mm.
I mean, that, and I think the weird, like, even the worst part is they canceled it so late. Like, Strasburg had already, like, was flying out family for this. And, you know, to be there and was excited to, you know, finally kind of just not have to go through this rehab process anymore. To just, you know, maybe throw a baseball again. I don't know.
Yeah. No. It's dumb, and they should be better at handling it.
For sure.
Yeah. Did we talk about the Giants in the NL wildcard race?
We did. I mean, I mentioned them, but I'm going to be honest. I don't think that's a team that's. They have to get hot to do anything. And I don't think they are going to get hot.
No, I don't think so either.
Kyle Harrison is a rookie for them. I don't know if you've watched him pitch at all. He's been really impressive, though.
I haven't, but the Royals rookie pitcher.
Are you talking about the Royals?
No. Yes, we can.
The Royals are going to be, like, kind of okay next year. Like, I'm not going to say they call them good, but, you know, you have a full year of Vinny Pasquantino. Cole Reagan's being just, like, watch that. Go Google highlights from him. He is ridiculous. He is insane. He is so good at baseball and throwing a baseball. Their bullpen, they still have like a couple guys in there where it's like, it's not going to be like the Brewers bullpen where it's just like you stand, or the Orioles bullpen where you stand no chance. But I mean, it's a solid bullpen, solid group of guys, and then you see what Bobby Wood Jr.'s done this year. This team's exciting.
Yeah. The Royals, it's been a while since they were good.
Yeah.
You know, it's always tough for small market teams, obviously, but they went to back-to-back World Series. They obviously got the one, and then they fell off a cliff.
Yep.
Because they just couldn't pay everyone, you know?
And those guys kind of stopped being good after that year anyway.
Yeah. But it's good. I like it when the Royals are good. They're a fun team, and the pitcher is so fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
He's so good.
Yeah,
I love it. I'm a big guy. I love pitching. I love goaltending. I love pitching. I love me some one-man teams. You know.
Mm-hmm.
It's just fun to watch.
Mm-hmm.
So, keep dominating. Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But talking about a team like the Royals, we've seen the Reds and the Orioles go from, you know, worst teams in the league to playoff team caliber, best team in the league, whatever. Are there teams like that heading into next season? We talked about the Royals a little bit. Who are your candidates for that?
I mean, I think we might see the Pirates kind of continue to take those steps forward. They have a lot of young players on that team where they just didn't quite put it together. Like, they didn't just quite click at the big league level right away. Like a lot of these teams, like the Orioles and the Reds did. I mean, we just talked about them. The Nationals have, I mean, you know, we talk all day about how many guys they have down in Double-A. Dylan Cruz James Wood are both top 5, top 7 prospects, depending on which list you prefer. And then Brady House is down there too. Trey Lipscomb has been really good in Double-A. Nobody really talks about him. Like they've got some bats down there. It's just, can they figure out that pitching in the offseason, I feel like.
Yeah, so the Nats and the Pirates?
Yeah, I mean, here, let me think. I mean, the Yankees are kind of doing it right now. I'm just trying to think of what farm systems are really good. Off the top of my head. I mean, yeah, I think those are the big teams where you have a lot of MLB-ready guys. We're close to MLB-ready. Yeah, I think those are going to be my 2.
Yeah. No, the Pirates, I mean, they started the season off so hot, you know, so there's a lot of promise there, so hopefully they can.
Yeah, I mean, like, since then they've called up Andy Rodriguez. He's been very good. I'm trying to remember who else they have up there. Henry Davis is out there in right field for them. And they still have a couple guys. I mean, they have Paul Skeens, Kamar Johnson. Quinn Priester has been up. I don't know what he's all done. He's not up anymore, it looks like. Is he on the IL? No. I think he's just kind of struggled a little bit up and down.
You know who we haven't talked about that I want to real quick?
Who?
The Angels.
The Angels.
The Angels, a week or 2 ago, just said screw it and cut everyone. Or not everyone, but they cut a lot of people. And a lot of the people that they got in this same year's trade deadline they cut. What the heck?
No, I mean, they traded everything, and then they just they waived everybody, not released. And then, they kind of just gave the Guardians a bullet bill, almost. I don't know, man. There's probably going to be a rule instituted over this offseason. Sorry, you're about to get the same message I just got. Yeah. No, I mean, it's just weird. Baseball. I don't know. There's going to be a rule this offseason probably to go against that. That's really bad for competitive integrity, where you trade for a bunch of players and then just waive them, which, with the way the waiver process works, it's just reverse win record or win percentage.
Mm-hmm.
So the team that's 3 games back can just go claim all these guys and then make a push. I'm really disappointed the Nats didn't claim Lucas Giolito, just because.
Homecoming?
No, because Mackenzie Gore needs to get shut down. He can't make another start.
Why?
He threw like 90, not even, innings last year.
Mm-hmm.
He was coming off a serious injury, and he's already thrown like 140 innings. And that is a big workload jump. He can't throw more. Look at the results he's had lately. He can't throw more, or else he's not going to throw next year.
It's fair. Yeah.
Like, Josiah Gray has the workload where, yeah, he can handle it. Jake Irvin probably shouldn't be throwing that many more starts anyway himself, because same thing, coming off Tommy John last year, was his first year back from Tommy John. This year he's still working up that innings limit. Like, we're about to watch some bad baseball these next 2 weeks for the Nats, but
oh well. This is the season to have bad baseball.
Yeah.
So, we'll see. Is there anything you wanted to cover before we sign off?
Jeremy, it's been a while.
What?
I got a question.
Oh my goodness. He has a question.
I have a question.
Welcome back, everyone, to my favorite segment of the week. Hayden's question of the week. Hayden, you have a question for us?
I do have a question for you. What's our World Series matchup?
Oh.
Well, hey, listen. First one back. We can't get too crazy with it.
My World Series matchup is gonna be. Hold on.
Yeah.
I had it for a second.
You had it for a second.
And then it
Take your time,
left. We're gonna go with the Baltimore Orioles
Okay.
taking on the Atlanta Braves.
Yep.
That's really chalk, isn't it? Oh.
That's okay. I agree. I think the Braves are just like they're head and shoulders above the others. We didn't really talk about Dodgers today. Walker Buehler just got shut down. That starting pitching is like very thin. Like one tiny little like guy has some tightness in his hamstring away from just falling apart. Even if they have all the bats.
Which they do.
They do, but I mean, it's still like, it's tight pitching. I don't really want to, mess with that a whole lot. But Braves for sure. And then I think the Houston Astros want to back him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought you said the Mariners were going to beat him in the playoffs.
Yeah, but I think they have a chance. But I mean, it's the Houston Astros, man. They're really good. They said we don't need analytics, and they're still gonna win.
Yeah. Well, good for the Astros. Thank you everybody so much for tuning in to this episode of the Triple Threat Show on WXJM, 88.7 FM, Harrisonburg, Virginia, and WXJM.org. We have been your hosts, Jeremy Lapidus and
Aiden Raymer.
Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cool.
Of course, you gotta bring the question of the week.
I forgot.
Come on, get out of here.
I forgot.
How could you forget?
It's been like a year since you came. I have to respond to Rich for him to send me the message, don't I?
Are you gonna be around to cover Jackson Rutledge if there's any news?
Probably not.
Probably not.
Hello. Hey. I mean, I won't say no, but the answer's probably no. I need to stop streaming.